every culture that's ever existed has tried desperately to draw upon the life forces of nature, and it's caused the most bloody and horrible blood sacrifices, human sacrifice, somehow to get the heart of what causes life. Universally, it's symbolized as the Spirit. Even around the throne of God in heaven, we have every reason to believe that one of the original symbols there was a serpent. We look at the emblem of Dan, we see both the eagle and the serpent there around the sanctuary. The eagle today stands in a place representing omniscience, but over it, over the whole thing, once the covering cherub was Lucifer. When he came to this earth, he took that symbol of the serpent, the symbol of divinity, and he used it to deceive Adam and Eve. And before that flood came, somehow through amalgamation and genetics, he made the dragon or the serpent the ruler of that ancient nature world. It was a terrible situation. Every culture of the world has this great winged serpent now, and there's no place that it's found anywhere in nature today. In Egypt, the scarab beetle was a symbol of life. The wearing of jewelry was to draw upon these cosmic forces. All the way through the history, the fascination of the mysteries has attracted people, from the astrology of the Chaldeans to all the mysteries of the occult world. Somehow they wanted to peer into the other side and gain an understanding or a control over the forces of nature. The Jews, when they left Babylon, became the leaders in this movement. An example, years later, a man by the name of John Dee, or Dr. Dee, was financed and supported by a number of royalties in Europe to carry on occult experiments, and here he is here calling up the dead and talking to them. The history of the secret societies is really the history of how the occult has continued, and in a direction that will one day cover the whole world. Ellen White says that everything is being planned out in those secret societies, even Satan's coming, and that's in evangelism, and I was going to read that at this point, but it's very clear. In the secret societies, even Satan coming with all lines and sign wonders, counterfeit Christ is being planned out there. But as we look in the old temple of the Templars, we realize that there, even in Catholicism, it was the priests, and in this order of knights, they worshiped the occult. This was the goat of the Baphomet that they kissed in their initiation and then broke the cross and threw it on the floor. This is why when Masonry was publicly persecuted as a facade for the church, the leaders fled into England, and in 1770, they established this magnificent lodge. There are over 200 Masonic lodges reside in it today. All of those people that take those initiations, initiation is a code word in the occult for possession of evil spirits or possession of the spirits. These people take their initiation and they enter into these symbols which on the surface look to be Jewish or Christian but are really occult. If you look at these two pillars, they're supposed to be the pillars before Solomon's temple, Joachim and Boaz, but if you look at them, one has stars representing astrology or the heavens or the metaphysical world, and the other the earth representing the physical. The idea of dualism, of the occult astrology worship is there. Even inside, the Bible is used as a symbol, but it's not a Christian organization. In fact, in San Francisco, the Masonic Lodge, I looked at this replica of Solomon's Temple. It's true it had been a magnificent temple, 600 feet tall. It was one of the most beautiful buildings the world had ever seen. And when you look closely, it looks kind of like a Jewish temple, but the closer you get, you see symbols of Babylon and Egypt and the occult all over it. There, Solomon's temple is the temple of soul, or the temple of the sun. And here in these Masonic staffs, you can see the sun and the moon held up in their initiation rites. On the eastern wall is the pentagram, which is a form of the goat's head. It represents the rulers of the dark forces, or Satan. And in their own books, I have quotations. I would read them at this time, but we're going to have to go through this thing real fast. And that they say that this represents Lucifer and Satan. The G represents God, Gnosis, generation, gematria, goat, and Garden of Venus, all symbols of this sexual life force in nature. Well, another one of their symbols is the cubic stone, 6 sides and 12 lines. It represents the universe. They have a branch for Islam, they have a branch for Protestantism, and they have a branch for the Jewish or the Hebrew people. Each one of these branches is a means that the Roman Catholic Church is using to draw people into an organization that appears to be against Catholicism, but as they initiate all the way up to the top through the different ranks of Masonry, they find at the top there's one secret doctrine, one universal religion, the religion of Lucifer. And if I'll tell you something, I have documents from their books for everything I'm saying to you right now. And if a Mason says to you, oh, that isn't true, that guy's just not telling the truth, that man doesn't even know what his own people teach. And they admit in their own material that they lie to their own people. When they say our Father, it's Satan that they're worshiping. Adam Weishaupt was an occultist as well as a Jesuit. He claimed to be able to levitate and to do theurgy, call up demonic spirits and things like that. And so those teachings were carried on within the Illuminati. When the communism burst upon the world through the work of Mazzini and men like Albert Pike, it also carried with it, in its secret recesses, a group that actually worshipped Satan under the name Lucifer. And in their meetings, public meetings with many more people than this, one that was described, a woman that was on stage, lift off the platform and floated over the audience, and her clothes burned up in a great blaze of fire, and a demon appeared next to her. And there for quite a while she flitted and floated, and there was music and noises and sounds, and that was their meeting. And then she came and sat down. And when she exhaled 360 some odd times, and they counted the number of spirits in that situation. That's what these men are like that are at the head and control of international conspiracy. And only God's Spirit are holding this back. Marx works with these people. You can read it in their letters that he was part of these. And when you see the slaughter caused by the communist world, they have killed at least 200 million people since their start. It took the Catholic Church 1,500 years to approach those type of figures. This group killed them all within a matter of decades. And they're taking the world today. Horrible slaughters, destruction of one country after another in Cambodia and so on. But many of our presidents have been master masons. Mussolini was a Satanist. Hitler was a member of the Thule and the Vril Society, both Hindu societies. He was a possessed man, and he had a Jesuit on one side, and he had a witch on the other that took care of him and guided his thinking. Himmler was an occultist. They were searching under the earth. They were searching everywhere to find the power of the Vril, a power that they believed that a society underneath the earth of mystic, advanced beings controlled. They hoped that somehow through a supernatural activity of transition and through genetics, they would take a great leap in human evolution and get us into the Aryan race as a whole world. And this is what these strange SS troops were dedicated for, and the Jesuits are right there walking along with them. We see a continuation of these thoughts and these feelings about race taking place today. Real spiritualism began with these two Fox sisters in Hydesville, and within a very short period of time there was 100 mystics in the area of Rochester, New York, and this thing burst into existence at the same time in 12 countries of the world, just overnight. As Satan saw God's people teaching the Sabbath at that time, that's when the Sabbath came, and immediately spiritualism burst out in tremendous power, and immediately another French Revolution burst out in France. See, the end is always close when God's people are ready to give the message. Always close. But men like D.D. Holmes and men like Leonora Piper and Eusebius Palladino were looked at by a world that had rejected the Bible, and their psychic phenomenon were studied. They believed it was from their mind. These people, many of them could fly, float off the ground right in front of these scientists. They were able to all kinds of phenomenon around them. In the Masonic lodges, they were carrying out the activities of mesmer, hypnotism. Mesmer got this material from a Jesuit priest in one of the courts in Europe. Yeah, one of the strangest places that has ever existed was the home of these two boys called the Eddy brothers. After the Civil War, they set up a lodge for spiritualists where on stage beings, spiritualistic beings would manifest in this broad stage seance type of setup. A man there who was a lawyer, he was a genius, there's no doubt about that, a man who had broken away from his family, was searching out the occult, and he came to this place in Tennessee to see the Eddy brothers, and while he was there, he met a Russian mystic by the name of Madame Blavatsky. The minute Madame oh boy, I'll never be able to speak Russian. Madame Blavatsky arrived, all of a sudden, everything started acting Russian on stage. People dressed up in old Russian, the demons started manifesting. She was a powerful mystic. And these two worked together to establish a new society, a society that would bring spiritualism into the realm of science, into the realm of the upper classes of the world. The society was called